At the time we're making this video in early 2026, Poland appears to have no less than 4 types of main battle tanks for its land forces. When the majority of countries around the world use just one type/one family of main battle tanks for their forces, Poland's collection really bucks the trend. The K2, M1, Leopard 2 and PT-91. Why exactly does Poland have so many different types of MBTs? We answer this complicated question by going over the history/acquisition of each type for today's video. Yes, as of early 2026, the Polish army uses the following tanks. The PT-91 Twardy, which is a Polish upgrade of the Soviet T-72M, the Leopard 2A5 and 2PL, which are upgraded 2A4s, the K2 family of main battle tanks, and the Abrams M1, including the M1A1 and M1A2. Not counting sub-variants, that's 4 different families of tanks from 4 different countries. This requires 4 different supply chains, less than ideal from a logistical perspective. But there's a reason that each type of MBT has found itself in the Polish army. Would the Poles opt for simplification if they could? Sometimes diversity has its strengths, but, well, our guess is yes. The Polish armed forces would probably opt for a simpler fleet if they had the choice. But time-sensitive opportunities, geopolitical events, and international relationships have been fairly large factors for why Poland has this diversity of tanks. So let's go over the origin and current state of each tank family to understand the current situation, beginning with the PT-91. We won't go through the entire history of Poland's armed forces. Instead, let's begin in the late 80s and mid-90s. It was during this period that Poland had been producing its own tanks, the T-72, licensed from the Soviet Union. With the collapse of the USSR in the early 1990s, Poland would stop its pursuit of a more modern Soviet T-series replacement for the T-72. It's said that the Poles would instead eagerly exploit the Soviet license while simultaneously pondering how to modernize the design. The country would seek to adapt/convert/upgrade its existing T-72s. The modernized main battle tank would be designated the PT-91 Twardy, with Twardy meaning something like hard, tough, firm, or solid in English. In 1993, the Polish Defense Ministry ordered its first 20 PT-91 tanks to be used for field trials and armed forces tests, and the first of these would enter service in 1995. According to the website Polska Zbrojna, deliveries of the PT-91 lasted 7 years, and in total, the Polish army acquired over 230 of them. The website adds that for 3 decades, tanks of this type have participated in dozens of exercises involving both domestic and allied forces, even deploying to Latvia as part of the NATO multinational unit there. An armored officer with the Polish army speaks fondly of the machine, telling Polska Zbrojna, "When they entered service, the PT-91 Twardys were modern tanks. Since then, technology has advanced significantly, but even today they still have certain advantages. Thanks to their relatively small size, these vehicles are easy to conceal, and their simple design means crew members can perform many repairs themselves on the spot." Already in decline the past few years, it was only in November 2024 that the PT-91s were officially relieved by the Leopard 2 main battle tanks, with several dozen Twardys donated to Ukraine. Over the course of their long service, the PT-91s have undergone repairs and modifications, including the replacement of their thermal imaging cameras. However, the vehicles are slowly reaching the end of their useful life. So, admittedly, these tanks are on the way out after roughly 3 decades of service. As of mid-2025, it was reported that some PT-91s were being used by some units deployed in the eastern part of Poland. But perhaps by the time you watch this video, the Twardy will be completely retired from the Polish armed forces, hopefully to fight on in Ukraine. Moving on to our second tank family, the Leopard 2, Defense Express says that Poland had somewhat reached a developmental dead end with its T-72/PT-91s, unable to upgrade them further for the demands of modern warfare. The old tanks were also facing high maintenance costs, and so it made sense for the country to begin shopping for replacements in the late 90s and early 2000s. And so the Ministry of Defense of Poland would decide to buy 128 used Leopard 2A4s from Germany, tanks that had a stated wear rate of 20 to 30% at the time. Defense Express states that the package included the purchase of several tens of thousands of 120mm shells, the supply of auxiliary vehicles, and crew training. It's added that the Polish military actually had the opportunity to literally sort through the tanks that were in Bundeswehr storage, choosing the best units from the 600 or so available. The agreement on the supply of Leopard 2A4 for the Polish army was concluded in January 2002, and the first batch of 53 was delivered between September 2002 and March 2003. The other 73 tanks were delivered by the end of 2003. Fast forward nearly a decade, and Poland's Soviet-era PT-91s were only getting older and more in need of replacement. With this in mind, Poland purchased a new batch of tanks from Germany, more surplus Leopard 2s from the Bundeswehr, this time Leopard 2A5s. In November 2013, Poland and Germany signed a contract worth almost €200 million for the delivery of 105 2A5s and 14 additional 2A4s. It said that it took up to 6 months for Polish specialists to select tanks for delivery. During 2014, Poland received 91 2A4 and 2A5 tanks. During 2015, another 28 Leopard 2A5s would be delivered. Poland would also move to upgrade the 2A4s to become a distinctly Polish variant, the Leopard 2PL. As reported by Overt Defense, the upgrade package replaced the Leopard 2A4's hydraulic turret drives and gun stabilizer drives with electric motor-driven systems for both. Additionally, new thermal sights were provided for the gunner and commander, while the 120mm main gun's fire control system was upgraded for compatibility with newer ammunition types. The upgrade's most noticeable external change was the addition of new modular turret armor. The upgrade process faced its fair share of controversy, facing several years of delays, technical challenges, and cost overruns. A spare parts shortage originating in Germany played a major factor, causing tensions between the two countries. Showing just how badly the whole upgrade program went down, it was in 2024 that Polish prosecutors charged board members of defense contractor Bumar-Łabędy for mismanagement of the project, alleging that the company didn't have the equipment or ability to meet the terms of the contract. Despite the Leopard 2PL upgrade mess, you can see that Poland was seemingly headed towards an all-Leopard tank fleet. However, it said that after 2015, the opportunity to buy used Leopard 2s directly from Germany or from other operators essentially ran out. This is what prompted Poland to go shopping for other platforms. And so in April 2022, at the 1st Armoured Brigade in Warsaw, the head of the Ministry of National Defense signed an agreement for the purchase of 250 Abrams tanks for the Polish army. The agreement also included 26 M88A2 Hercules maintenance vehicles and 17 M1074 Joint Assault Bridge systems, as well as a training and logistics package and ammunition. The value of the order was stated to be approximately $4.75 billion. The Abrams tanks ordered were the M1A2 SEP V3, with the tanks primarily going to the Army's 18th Mechanized Division, including the 1st Armoured Brigade. The first delivery took place in January 2025. There's no doubt that the Abrams is a capable platform, but we do have to wonder about other factors beyond technical performance that were a part of Poland's decision-making. A bad experience with the Germans might have ruled out buying new Leopard 2s, not to mention the possibility of slow delivery times from its western neighbor. But there's also the fact that the United States has thousands upon thousands of troops stationed in Poland to help guarantee the country's security. With this in mind, it makes sense that a major purchase of M1A2s would be considered above other options. But when it comes to the Abrams, Poland didn't stop there. In fact, in January 2023, less than a year after signing the deal for the 250 M1A2s, the country would sign for 116 second-hand M1A1s. This deal came with 12 M88A2s and 8 M1074 Joint Assault Bridge systems, among other pieces of equipment. The $1.4 billion contract was signed in order to urgently fill gaps in Poland's arsenal after it donated over 240 of its own T-72 tanks to Ukraine. Sweetening the deal, the M1A1 purchase was said to be partially funded by the US itself, As detailed by the Polish government, nearly $200 million was financed by the American side as part of the aid funds granted to Poland. Showing just how much faster the acquisition of used equipment can be, the 116 M1A1s were fully delivered by June 2024. And now we've reached the final family of tanks, the South Korean K2 Black Panther. The decision to acquire these tanks is an interesting one, considering Poland signed the deal just a few months after ordering the 250 M1A2s from the United States. Indeed, Poland ordered 180 tanks in August 2022, with the deal valued at $3.37 billion. 180 more K2s would be ordered in 2025, with an agreement for 63 of these to be assembled in Poland through a joint arrangement between Hyundai Rotem and Polish state-run defense group PGZ. Why Poland has more recently been pursuing South Korean equipment is no surprise. The East Asian country offers solid equipment at a competitive price. Additionally, delivery times are relatively speedy, while agreements provide for a good measure of technology transfer and local Polish production. And if we put the K2 tank purchases within the context of Poland's much broader shift towards South Korean military equipment, we can see that it's a relationship that continues to grow strong with every delivery, including deliveries of self-propelled artillery, rocket artillery, and light utility vehicles. So, as we hinted at earlier, the decision for each type of main battle tank was meant to address needs that were being faced by the Polish army. The used Leopard 2s were acquired at a good price, as were the M1A1 Abrams. The purchase of the M1A2s significantly strengthened Poland's relationship with the United States, who continued to station troops in the country and be part of the security situation on NATO's eastern flank. And finally, South Korea offered an extremely capable tank at a competitive price with a relatively fast delivery time combined with the promise of technology transfer, all things that are hard to beat. Each decision on its own makes sense, but the situation now is that Poland operates 3 different types of main battle tanks, with the 4th type mostly on the way out. Again, it's highly unusual, but at least Poland's forces are large enough to shrug off such diversity and logistical complexity. What do you think of Poland's tank purchasing decisions? Would you consider any of these deals a mistake? Let us know by leaving a comment.